Hello and welcome to Top Sim. I am William Lebowski. It has been quite a good minute since the last video. It's been a few months, especially a few months worth of racing time. And here to show that, I have put together the final two races of the season that I competed in the Global Endurance Series put on by Global Endurance Modding. You can see the banner we just went under there. Here we are, the first round at Bahrain. The second round, which was the penultimate round of the entire series, was at Sebring. And as you can tell, as we enter the endurance loop here at Bahrain, that it was a little bit of a different race than what is normally expected. And here is the first full lap that I did. I left pit road, and this was the warm-up lap. And I just kind of wanted to give you, a daytime look at this layout, and then we'll have a nighttime layout or nighttime lap as I competed, or my stint time was during sunset. So it was pretty cool time to have a stint. Get to enjoy the sunset, get to enjoy both the day and the night version of the track. I always prefer that as opposed to just jumping into a night portion of the track. And you can see a GT car go by, and that was a GT Pro car. I have competed in the GT AM classification, and the difference between the two GT Pro and GT AM cars for this series was that the GTE AM cars have ABS, whereas a regular GTE car would not. And in addition to the ABS, it has a 6% reduction in horsepower, and you can see the difference that makes here on the straight as that Aston Martin just drives away on this long straight. And in addition to that, we were also in the BMW M8. And if you know, I'm sure you probably do if you found this video, the M8 is a big honking slow car, and in the BOP, it is at a pretty significant disadvantage compared to the other cars in its class. So in addition to not being a pro car, it being slower off the bat, it is got a more inherent slowness in it because of just the nature of what it is. And so that was frustrating at times to look back on the whole season. I guess before we start looking back on the whole season, I do want to mention the person that you see in the bottom left is really changed over the month that this video took place, and I think you'd find even more change if I was to record this video right now with the current screen or with the current camera on me, and just seeing both the stuff behind me in my room. I think I've noticed, I didn't quite notice a lot of personal growth and how much I've really changed up until seeing this footage all together. And here you can see, with 1 minute remaining in this race, my mistake. This was really pretty much my only there. I mean, I didn't have a perfect race in terms of hitting all apexes and everything like that, but I didn't hit anything else. I didn't have any other major off tracks or anything like that. And so that was a big mistake. But if you could look at the timings and positions in the bottom right, everything is all good. There was a little bit of my eyes go wide. You can see they're much wider right here than they were previously. But there is a little bit of a penalty situation happening. As you can see, we have some drive-through penalties. I'm going to check them now. We were given a total of 3 or 4 penalties from that. One of them being a track cut penalty, which is our whole team worked on building those throughout this entire event. And I believe this was a 6-hour race, and so over 6 hours, to have your track cut penalties, that's definitely something you got to serve. And now we go to the final lap here, and it turned out that those penalties got wiped clear as they were a result from not necessarily cutting the track in terms of getting track cuts, but in terms of cutting the course and getting penalties added by the game. As you can see, the way that I went around the track to kind of avoid those 2 cars there, and that was deemed to be just quite all right by management. Those were removed, didn't have any impact on our finishing. We ended up finishing the race in P5, which didn't feel too good, didn't feel too bad. We ran a pretty good race, and so P5 out of 10 cars in the class, isn't terrible. But at the same time, there wasn't really many on-track passes. They were all passes from other cars making mistakes or passes in pit road. But here we jumped to Sebring, and that is an even more frustrating experience. This was a proper frustrating race in that we were the last running car pretty much the entire race. When I was out on track, another driver on the team had made a mistake and had to take repairs in pit road pretty early, and as a result of that, we lost some lap times, some position time on track pretty significantly. It was, I think, it was somewhere between 1 and 2 minutes, maybe around 2 minutes of repair for that. And quite frankly, and this was an 8-hour race that usually does not have a super large impact on an 8-hour race, especially in the first hour, and especially at a track like Sebring, where you expect there to be a lot of crash. You expect it's a tough track. It's very technical and very bumpy in addition to its technicality. So you do kind of expect something to happen. And really everybody else ran a pretty tight, clean race. And so unfortunately, that positioning stuck with us for the remainder of the race. And it really produced this real boring race experience. And there was even a point where I got pretty tired and sleepy at one point just because of how bored I was, just running in last place and being, when you're in the very last placed car, when you're in the class that is the least powered class out there, you're not passing anybody else. You're just getting passed by other cars. And you can see we're entering a code 80 now. There was a car without a rear wing somewhere on the track. And right before this, you saw that we were awarded a drive-through penalty, and that was the previous driver had made a mistake as well and made an unsafe rejoin, which resulted in us receiving a penalty, and we cannot serve our penalties under Code 80. So a little bit of unfortunate timing as I'm about to come through past pit road. It would have been a perfect opportunity for a pit stop or driver swap, but unfortunately, nothing we could do about serving our penalties. So I'm going to serve the penalty here right after that Code 80. So slight unfortunate timing, but that was just kind of the nature of this race specifically. It was a frustrating experience just to be stuck at the rear of the field and not really having too much to be able to do about it, being a lap down from the car ahead of you and then 2 laps down from the next car. So there's really no way for you to overcome that amount of time just on track. It'll require a little bit more. And you can see here a car coming and dive bombing when they didn't have space and giving us some damage. I did not submit an incident report on that, but I think what had happened was that car submitted a incident report against us and ended up with them getting penalized for it. So that was, I guess a little bit of karma for them, dive bombing, running into us and not being able to make the pass. But yeah, this was, I guess I don't mean to dwell on it, but it was just everyone, hopes for more than just being the car running in last place. But, that's a spot that will always be filled. Someone will always be in last place, and this race, it was us. And so I guess that leads me to talk about the series as a whole, the season as a whole. This was my rookie season being a competitive, sim amateur competitive, whatever we're going to call it, sim racing driver in the GTE AM class in the Global Endurance Series. Coming up, I guess before we start next season. So I think the series, or the season rather, as a whole went really well. I think the series also went well, but I think the season of sim racing, even looking beyond just the GES entries and races, was a pretty significant learning experience for me. I definitely found that there were periods of time where I had matched pace, and there were other periods of time where I did not have the time to put into practice and could see myself off pace during those events, and I think that this was one of them. I was probably a second or two off of what would have been the highest, fastest pace around. And that is frustrating, and I think I was even maybe a half second to sometimes a full second off of the teammates, our fastest teammates pace. So that was frustrating. But as a team, I think we really, I'm proud of how we ran. We never had the fastest car out on the track, but I think our consistency was to be admired. We never DNF'd a race that we entered, and here we are celebrating our donuts with our smashed up car. But looking forward to next season, I'm not exactly sure where TGM SimSport and myself will be competing just yet, as that is still kind of under talks, under plans, both with all of the series that are making their plans for the upcoming season, and as well as management decisions about where we're going to be and what kind of races we're going to take part in as a team and as individuals, and who can race where and what licenses will work for different series. But those were those two final races for me, and I'm definitely excited for more. And the next event that we have is later this month, I believe, at the Nürburgring 24-hour race. So that's going to be a hell of a challenge. Probably look forward to a video of that. Not sure how comprehensive it's going to be, if it's just going to be one lap and me talking about the experience, if we're going to see more of an aggregate of the entire event from my point of view. But anyway, thank you guys for sticking around. I know that this video went a little bit long. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know what you're curious about this past season, upcoming seasons, and how your seasons of sim racing went. We'll see you guys in the comments.